In this lesson, we're going to go over basic object construction tools. We're going to learn how to create circles and lines, how to create tangent radius circles, how to edit using the trim command, how to use the polygon command, and how to use the quick calc calculator. We're now going to start drawing our rocker arm. To do that, we're going to start by drawing a circle using the circle center radius command. Go up here to do that. We're going to start at our origin, 0, 0. In the command prompt area, you can see the message specify radius, circle, or diameter. AutoCAD expects us to identify the radius of the circle. We're going to draw it at a radius of 50. Select enter, and we now have a circle at the radius of 50. If we hit the space bar, it will repeat the circle command. Notice that it's asking us to specify the center point of the circle. We're going to select 70, 40 as our center point. The radius of this circle will be 25 units. Hit enter. We have a circle that's 25 unit radius at a center of 70, 40. We're now going to draw another circle with the center point at -50, -60, also with a radius of 25. To do that, we hit the space bar. It's going to ask us our coordinates of our center point, -50, -60, the radius of 25. To do the next part of our drawing, we're going to have to turn on the Object Snap toolbar. To do that, we're going to go up to Tools in the menu bar, go to Toolbars, AutoCAD, and notice that AutoCAD provides 50 plus predefined toolbars for access to frequently used commands, settings, and modes. A check mark next to the item in the list identifies the toolbars that are currently displayed on the screen. We want to select the Object Snap toolbar. Object Snap is an extremely powerful construction tool available on most CAD systems. We can snap the cursor to points on objects such as endpoints, midpoints, centers, and intersections. We can now take the Object Snap toolbar and dock it over on the left side of the screen or directly under our drawing tabs. To really highlight how this works, I'm also going to turn off the Grid Snap option in the status bar and also dynamic input. To draw a line that is tangent to two different circles, we're going to start with the line command, and then we're going to go up to the Object Snap toolbar and we're going to select tangent. I'm going to select tangent to this circle, and notice how the line stays connected to that circle and the tangency is deferred until we select our second point for the line. It's asking us in command line to specify next point. I'm going to go back to the tangent, select that, and I'll select this particular circle. I do not have to be right at the point of tangency. I actually be a little bit off of that. If I click, it will go tangent to that. I will right click and hit enter, and I now have a line that is tangent to both circles. I'm going to do the same thing over here by going to the line command, except for this time I'm going to force tangency by typing TAN. And it will ask me what I want to be tangent to. I'll select that, and then I can go ahead and use tangency up here if I want to, and select that circle, and then hit enter, and I will end the command, and I now have that line tangent to both circles as well. I'm now going to create the curved areas on the bottom between these circles using a tangent radius circle. To do that, I can do it several different ways. I can go up here and hit the circle command, and notice in the command line it says specify center point for circle or 3-point, 2-point, or tangent radius. So I'm going to go ahead and click tangent radius. It asks me to specify the point on an object for the first tangent of the circle. I'm going to go ahead and select the tangent to that circle. It then asks me specify point on object for second tangent of circle. I'll select that one. And it's going to ask me to specify the radius of that circle. I'm going to go ahead and select 50. Notice that a circle was created with a radius of 50 that was tangent to both of those circles. If the radius had been smaller, the circle would have been smaller, and it still would have been tangent to both those circles. It would have moved further in. I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing down here, except for the radius is going to be 40, and you're going to see how it will remain tangent to both of those circles, but also be a radius of 40. If we look up here, I can actually hit the drop down on the circle, and instead of doing it after the fact in the command line, I can go down here to tangent radius. It will ask me to specify first object tangency, second object tangency, and then it will default to 50 as my radius, but I want to type in 40 and hit enter. And you'll notice I now have a circle with a radius of 40 that is tangent to both those circles. The trim command shortens an object so that it ends precisely at a selected boundary. To see what we can do with this, the first thing I want you to do is select the trim command icon. You can also click the down arrow next to it, and it will actually show that you can do trim or extend, but we're going to go ahead and do trim. The message select object to trim or shift select object to extend or project edge undo is displayed in the command prompt area. I want you to move the cursor onto the left section of the upper right circle and note that it highlights that section to be trimmed out. In AutoCAD, several options are available with the trim command. First, we could specify cutting edges at which an object is to stop. Some of the valid cutting edge objects include most 2D geometry such as lines, arcs, circles, ellipses, polylines, splines, and text. 2, we can select objects to trim by defining a 2-point rectangle. Or 3, we can erase an entire object while in the trim command. I want you to go ahead and complete the trim command. And then it's going to stay on there. It's going to ask you to select another portion of the object to trim if you want. We can select that right there. Once we do that, we're going to go ahead and move on over here and select that. And then finish trimming out everything else until we're just down to the pieces that we actually want. And once we're done, we're in the drawing area. We want to right click and then press enter. We're next going to draw the polygon that's in the center of the bracket. To do that, we want to go up to our draw panel, hit the drop down next to rectangle and select polygon. Notice in the command line it says enter number of sides. We want it to be a hexagon, so we're going to select 6 and hit enter. It next says specify the center of the polygon. Since the center of the large circle is aligned to the origin of the world coordinate system, the center of the polygon can be positioned using several methods. However, we're going to go ahead and use 0, 0, our absolute coordinates, and hit enter. It's next going to ask us if we want it inscribed in a circle or circumscribed about a circle. This allows us to create either a flat to flat or a corner to corner distance. If we want a flat to flat distance, we would use circumscribed about a circle. If we wanted to measure from corner to corner, it would be inscribed inside of a circle. In this instance, we're going to go down here and select circumscribed about circle, or we could just hit C, enter. And notice that the circle is inside of the polygon. The radius that we're giving, the distance that we're giving here in a second, is actually going to be inside of the 6-sided polygon. Okay, the radius that we want to enter is 30. And hit enter. And it will draw the hexagon for us. We need to draw another polygon of 4 sides, and what we're going to do is right click and do repeat polygon. It's going to ask us for the number of sides. We want to do 4, hit enter. It's going to say specify center of polygon. We want it to be right in the middle of that circle, so we're going to use our snaps. We're going to go up here and select snap to center, and then we're going to select this particular arc. We're going to click on that, and it's going to ask us to enter an option inscribed in circle or circumscribed about circle. We want to do circumscribed about circle, so we're just going to hit C, enter. And it's now going to say specify radius of circle. To make this accurate, we're going to go ahead and turn on our grid snap down here, and you're going to see that we can snap to any one of these grid lines. Depending on which one we snap to, and these points, it will make the circle larger or smaller. We're going to go ahead and click that one, and we now have a square, a 4-sided polygon, that is circumscribed about a circle right on those points. On the lower part of a bracket, we need a circle that is exactly lined up with the center of this particular arc right here. So what we're going to do is go up to our circle command, we're going to do center radius, and then when we snap, we're going to snap right to the center of this particular one. Notice that it gives us the center there. We'll click, and when it asks us to specify a radius of the circle, we're going to select 10 and hit enter, and we will then have a circle exactly aligned to the center point of that particular arc. AutoCAD provides several tools that will allow us to measure distance, area, perimeter, and even mass properties. With the use of the Object Snap options, getting measurements of the completed design can be done very quickly. Inside the drawing area, if I right click, it'll bring up the option menu. I want to select Quick Calc. The Quick Calc option brings up the AutoCAD calculator. This can be used to perform a full range of mathematical, scientific, and geometric calculations. We can also use Quick Calc to create and use variables as well as convert units of measurement. We're going to click the Measure Distance option. To make this a little bit easier, we're going to turn snaps off and we're going to select the endpoint. We'll select this endpoint right here where this arc meets the line. Then we're going to select endpoint again, and we will select this endpoint right here, and it's going to tell us that the distance between those 2 points is 76.65. To clear this total, we'll hit the C. To measure an angle in Quick Calc, I can go ahead and measure angle button. This option allows us to measure the angle between the horizontal axis and the line formed by the 2 selected points. We want to snap to endpoint again. Select that endpoint. Snap to endpoint a second time. Snap to that one, and it will tell us that that angle is 11.68 degrees. To clear that, we'll hit clear again. If we want to know any point in the drawing, its exact coordinates in the X and Y axis, we can go up here and select Get Coordinates. We then can snap to any point that we want to. I can snap to this point right here, and it will tell us the coordinates of that point are 64.938 and 64.48. As you can see, the Quick Calc can be a very, very helpful tool when you're trying to figure out parts of your drawing. Once we're done with that, we can go ahead and close it. You can also move it to another screen if you have dual screen set up for your computer. We're going to save the CAD file, and then we'll be done. So to do that, I can go up to the application menu and select save. I can go to the quick access toolbar and select save, or I can do Control S, which will take me to saving. I'm going to go to my desktop, go ahead and go to my AutoCAD files, and I'm going to call this one Rocker Arm. Once I've selected that, I will hit save, and then I can close AutoCAD.